Alright, everybody. Welcome to my second episode of my Killer Concept series. Today, we're going to be talking about the Xenomorph. My first episode was on the Yacha, and I felt like it was appropriate to do the Xenomorph next. Let's get started talking about it. So the Xenomorph, her M1 attack would be her basic attack. That would be she just slashes forward with her claws. I see the Xenomorph as being standing up during the game, and I'll explain why in a second. But during normal gameplay, like when she starts out, she'd be standing up on two legs and running around like that. And that brings me to her second power. Her second power would be a crawling stance. So the idea with this is that the Xenomorph can switch between two different stances. The standing stance has her basic attack as the claw swipe, and that's kind of like the basic, stance. The crawling stance, the Xenomorph crawls down on all fours, and her movement speeds are increased while being in this stance. Her basic attack is changed into a tail stab instead of a claw swipe. And instead of being able to break pallets while in this stance, the Xenomorph can vault pallets, but not break them. Sort of like Legion. Well, pretty much exactly like Legion. That would be the Xenomorph's crawling stance. And there's no cooldown on the crawling stance. You can switch between crawling and standing at any time, but you can't break pallets or pick up survivors while in the crawling stance. You have to be standing in order to do that. And then the second part of her powers, or technically the third power, would be what I call vent crawling. So pretty much what would happen is whenever the Xenomorph is in a trial, there would be vents, open vents set up around in the ground of the map. Maybe like 6, 7, maybe 8 vents, and it'd just be like holes in the ground or whatever, like vent holes. And the Xenomorph would be able to crawl into these vents and come out one of the other vents. So that would be like a teleport type of thing, like a Demogorgon type thing. Only the Xenomorph, she wouldn't have to set up the vents or do anything like that. She would just be able to crawl into the vents and then crawl out another end. Unfortunately, the only thing is the Xenomorph wouldn't have any say in where the vents are. They would just kind of spawn around the map, and the Xenomorph would have to work with whatever the game gives her. So I think that's like a balance type of thing. And the second part of this power is that the Xenomorph would also be able to put a face hugger into a vent. And the face hugger would sit there, and if a survivor walks within like a 5, maybe 10 meter radius of a vent, the facehugger would leap out and latch onto a survivor's face like Victor. And the Xenomorph would be able to see the aura of the facehugger while it's on the survivor's face. And the location of the survivor would be revealed when it happens. It would probably be a noise notification. So there's that. And the only other thing with the Xenomorph's power would be that the Xenomorph would be able to see the vents at all times. I think that would be a pretty balanced killer, but a strong killer. I think that would be a pretty cool gameplay style. You know, it's like a stealth killer, but with more options, pretty much. I think Xenomorph would end up being top tier, but I don't think she'd be broken if they went with something like that. And also, the vent crawling can happen whether the Xenomorph is in, standing stance or crawling stance. It doesn't matter. She'd just be able to crawl into a vent. So yeah, there's that. My perk ideas for the Xenomorph is perk 1, Perfect Organism. And pretty much this perk is after the last generator is completed, all vault locations are blocked until the trial is over, and all pallets are blocked for 30 seconds. So pretty much this is like NOED without the exposed status effect. It happens in the end game. It's a last resort, try to make a comeback type of perk, but it wouldn't be as strong as NOED because you still have to hit each survivor, you still have to chase them down. It's making your job a little bit easier trying to chase them down in the end game. So yeah. Perk 2 I call Better Off Alone. And then this perk is whenever there are 2 or more survivors within your terror radius, all survivors are affected by the exposed status effect for 10 seconds. And then this perk would have a 90-second cooldown. So this is pretty much like a troll type of perk, I'd like to say. The survivors wouldn't expect you to have it until it happens. Like the survivors like, oh, let's gang up on the killer, until they realize, oh, we're all exposed and we all get slugged. So that's pretty much, and even at that, 10 seconds wouldn't be enough to completely get down every single survivor unless the survivors are being stupid. Like, I think this perk would only be strong if the survivors don't respect it, So I think that'd be a pretty cool perk to have. And then perk 3 is Darkness of Space. And this perk is after standing still for 5 seconds, the killer becomes undetectable and the lighting within the killer's terror radius dims for 15 seconds. And this perk would have a 30-second cooldown. So pretty much like Nightfall, only without it would affect the killer too. The lights would dim around the killer. The killer wouldn't be able to see the survivors as well, but the survivors wouldn't be able to see the killer as well either. And but the killer is undetectable, so the survivors really wouldn't be able to tell where the killer is. So yeah, that's perk 3. And then my idea for the Xenomorph's Mori would be that the Xenomorph hisses and roars while crawling up on top of the survivor. The Xenomorph would then flip the survivor over, and a chest burster would burst out of the chest of the survivor. I think that'd be a pretty awesome Mori. Technically, the Xenomorph wouldn't even do anything. It would just kind of happen, and I think that'd be really cool, following the iconic, movie scene in the first Alien movie. I think that'd be pretty dope. So yeah, that's that. My only other thoughts maybe on this killer, I was thinking, I don't think this would work with the powers I gave them, but maybe as an alternative, like an alternative idea. I also thought it might be cool where if the Xenomorph can get a survivor down to their last hook state, instead of hooking them, the survivor could put a face hugger on their face and then impregnate them with a chest burster. The chest burster would burst out and then grow into a Xenomorph that would run around the map with you as like an AI Xenomorph. and then you could do that hypothetically on all the survivors. I thought that might have been pretty cool, but I think that might be a little much, and I think the play style I came up with in terms of balance and everything with my ideas for the Xenomorph's power, I think what I came up with was a little bit better than that and more balanceable. I think it'd be kind of hard to balance a power like that, but it was an idea that I was thinking of, and it was actually my first idea, but I thought that might be a little bit too much, having 2 to 3 extra xenomorphs running around trying to kill you. That would be terrifying, but I don't know how well that would be balanceable. So yeah, that's a alternative idea I came up with. Other than that, a map idea and a survivor idea, I think the survivor would have to be Ripley. I don't think you could have any other survivor come with the Xenomorph chapter. I think it would have to be Ripley. And that'd be pretty dope. And the map, I'd say the spaceship, that they were on in the first movie. I think that'd be pretty dope to have a map be in space. Other than that, I don't really know what else they could do with that. Like, I think the spaceship is the best idea they got. Yeah, I think that'd be the best one. It'd be cool to have a map that's in space, because then you could be like, oh, the entity can expand into space, and it would expand the entity's lore. I think that'd be pretty dope. So yeah, that's my idea for the Xenomorph killer for Dead by Daylight. Let me know what you guys think of my ideas in the comments below. Let me know your ideas and what you think would be kind of cool for the Xenomorph. The Xenomorph is one of my favorite monster sci-fi horror characters of all time. So I played the Alien vs Predator video game. I really like that game a lot, and I think it'd be cool to be able to play it. I also played as the alien Xenomorph in Mortal Kombat X. That was really fun. So I think it definitely is possible for DBD to get a hold on the Xenomorph. Maybe not as much now that Disney owns the rights to the Xenomorph, but you never know, man. I think it'd be really cool, though, to see that happen. So, yeah, that's that, and everyone have a good day.